When making these videos, I always like to start by answering the question right off the bat. Exactly how hard was it to get the Platinum Trophy for Resident Evil 9 Requiem? And the answer is easy to moderate. There's nothing overwhelmingly difficult in this one. You don't even really need a guide, and I don't see you having to put a huge effort. You won't be traumatized from the zombie infestation this time. My recommendation for this one is to take it easy, relax, and just enjoy this great game. Let's get into it. The trophies are all very straightforward, and honestly, that's a welcome change of pace from the usual trophy hunts. I want to compliment Resident Evil 9 because it takes trophies that should act as challenges but makes them come naturally. A good example is Season Pro. The trophy requires you to defeat 300 enemies and that's it, and I like that. Normally when you get a requirement like that, the number is usually overinflated and requires you to go to a certain zone and just spam kill enemies. But in RE9, not only is 300 a lot, but it will come naturally in your playthroughs. You won't have to hyper focus on it, you just need to play the game as intended. Another example is Bloodlust, which requires you to collect 5,000 microsamples. Again, you just play the game as intended, use your resources as you should, and it's another trophy that will come to you as you play. Even if you find yourself off and don't hit those numbers outright, you won't be too far away from getting those achievements in your next playthrough. Speaking of playthroughs, if you use a guide, you can obtain all the trophies and complete all the challenges in just 2 runs. When doing trophy hunts, I personally don't like using a guide. I judge how good a game is, to me, based on how often I open a guide. I never did for this one, except for one challenge which we'll get to later. The point being, if you're a casual trophy hunter, expect 3 playthroughs for max. I personally completed it in 4 runs, but that's because I'm a bad player. If I wasn't playing terribly, I could have easily done it in 3. That's because as per Resident Evil tradition and most horror survival games in general, the real challenge isn't the combat, but rather taking the time to explore. High praise to the RE19 because the exploration was very immersive. When playing as Grace, I truly felt trapped in a hospital. When playing as Leon, I really felt like I was alone, surrounded by zombies in a forbidden city. To add to that, the exploration for it all was worth it. A lot of the trophies are attached to exploration and it's very rewarding. You have to go around the hospital to find combinations for safes. You have to figure out how to maneuver as Leon to obtain special items hidden in the ruins of Raccoon City. It's all very intuitive and worth the trophies. Again, most of the trophies involve exploration, so my recommendation is just explore like a maniac at your own pace on your first playthrough and pick up any remnants on subsequent runs. You'll have to obtain trophies that are typical of games like this. For example, find and read every file, which again requires exploration. Craft every item at least once, upgrade your inventory slots to the max, etc, etc. There are some trophies here that are returning if you're used to platinum hunting in Resident Evil games. Mr. Raccoon is back, and you need to shoot him 25 times. This time around, he's not as difficult to find as previous games, but even so, finding and destroying all Mr. Raccoons might be one of the few times you force yourself to open a guide so you don't miss anything. Also, as per Resident Evil tradition, you'll have trophies that require you to beat the game without using healing herbs or crafting items, which becomes a joke if you go for those trophies on casual difficulty. The second most difficult trophy you'll probably face is Speed Demon, which requires you to beat the game in under 4 hours. I did it in 3:45 and then I've seen others averaging 3:30, which is a tighter window than usual, but it's completely doable after beating the game at least once, as you'll unlock special items. In other words, it's nothing infinite rocket launchers can't fix. If you're going for the platinum, the obvious hardest trophy is beating the game on insanity mode. Like everyone else in the community, I cheated and used infinite ammo and later infinite rocket launchers. But be careful, due to the nature of the game, you'll still find yourself dying a few times here and there, as you'll get one-shotted by everything and you can still find yourself overwhelmed with enemies if not careful. Earlier I mentioned I didn't use a guide except for that one challenge, and if you're wondering what that challenge was, it was the final puzzle. Resident Evil 9 has a challenge called the Final Puzzle, and I won't go into it here. It's a very long, complicated story, and I recommend you look into it yourself if you're interested. Additionally, it's not linked to any trophies in any way, but it's still worth mentioning. It's a really weird story as the breakthrough for the trophy was found by accident and caused a small uproar in the community. Check it out if you're interested. But I'm confessing to you all now, in case anybody asks, yes, for the final challenge, I cheated. Before we reach the end, this might sound petty, but I'm not a fan of the names on this trophy list, which is disappointing. Capcom is notorious for its references and cameos, even if it's in trophies, but the ones here were lackluster. There's a trophy that requires you to open every safe in the game, and it's called No Safe is Safe, which is almost funny, but it kind of missed the mark. There are crates you have to open to obtain some hidden items and a trophy associated with it, and it's called Great Expectations. Again, Almost funny, but not really. I expected more from Capcom. A lot of the trophy names from 7 to 4 Remake were really niche Resident Evil references or pop culture jokes, but RE9 was just too plain for my taste. I know all of you don't care, but it matters to me, damn it. What's the point of trophy hunting if they don't even make me laugh? I like to save the criticism for last, so here they are. I'm okay with a casual platinum trophy, but even so, I wish Requiem still had an extremely difficult trophy challenge that would destroy players, such as completing Insanity mode without special items and something else more creative, really. I enjoyed playing this game, but I did feel a little defeated when I relaxed on the hardest difficulty while spamming RPGs. It would have been fine if I wanted to do a lax run, but I was looking for a gaming challenge. I didn't find one here. As I said, almost every trophy in the game you'll come across naturally in a regular playthrough. I just wish there were a few here and there that made you work for it. You could argue there is one in-game scavenger hunt that required players to really focus, think, and explore with purpose, but it was really short, literally solvable in under 3 minutes. Although I do appreciate the references, I I mean, how many times do I have to find this picture of Rebecca in a Resident Evil remake? It's starting to get a little bit creepy. There's no ranking system, which honestly shocks me more than it probably should, as remakes 2 to 4 not only had rankings, but they were attached to their respective trophies. But you won't find that here. I take that as the developer's way of saying, yes, we'll give you a challenge like Insanity mode if you want, but we won't hold you to it this time around. Just enjoy the game. That's it. Overall, a great game, casual challenge. Just wish there was one major trophy players genuinely struggled with. I highly recommend it for trophy hunters. See you all in Resident Evil 5 Remake. Please like and subscribe.
Don't do anything stupid.
Me? Never.
Ooh.